I found them. At any rate, you see right there in the Holy Bible, you see where it says unicorns. Let's see. I'm going to have to pick this up and put it in there another way. How do you focus this thing? There it is. That's better. Now let's see which side. Huh. 186. Unicorns. Where's it at? Well, it's backwards on this thing. But it's there. You see it right there. Right there. All the places in the Holy Bible where that appears. Okay. And there is another verse. There's another one. Numbers 22 right there. Numbers. Book of Numbers. There it is in there. It's kind of backward. You might have to pause that to see that. And here is another one. This would be, let's see. Why did I mark these? There it is, right there. Unicorns in the Holy Bible. In 17. That would be, I don't even know what book that is. A Thompson Chain Reference Holy Bible could bring all of these up. And we'll go through the next one. Well, at any rate, you get the drift. There's 8 of them. 8 verses in the Holy Bible. This is all of them right there. All the places where unicorns appear in the Holy Bible. We'll do some more. This is, well, that's that one I have marked, like a calf, Lebanon, and sure, like a young unicorn, right there. You could see. So if you think that's crazy, it's just with the ancients, this type of awareness. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls. There's another one, Isaiah 34:7, and then we have another one here. You make it them to skip like a young calf, Lebanon, and sure like a young unicorn. Psalm 29:6. King James Version, of course. That's the only version. So, you see, that invisible light that physics acknowledges as electromagnetic EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, but it does not acknowledge, as far as the study of physics goes, one of the 11 basic categories. Invisible light is that light is living. It doesn't have eyes, but it sees. It doesn't have ears, but it hears. It doesn't have a brain, but it's omniscient. So it's unfathomable. But like the angels think, the divine white living light is not God. That's the Holy Spirit or Atman. Om to God was let there be light. Primordial. In the beginning was the Word. That word is Om, primordial. Before your religion was, Om is. That which said let there be light. And Om is infinitely greater than that. The light is indescribably beautiful. And So at any rate, this is the internal path to God. God is right here, right now, here, there, and everywhere. And this is this woman right here. This is 3 hours a day in the headstand. And Christ's disciples did it in only 3 years. 3 hours a day in the headstand. Of course, not like that. The cushions under the head and your hands behind your head, clasped behind your head. Pick up your cross daily and follow me was the same as 3 hours a day in the headstand, and you will experience Om or Yahweh. You could call it YHWH, because it's outside of the human form and formlessness. That's why the Jews don't pronounce it. Your pronunciations and speech and all that is bringing it into the human form, but it's actually outside of the human mind and sensorial experience. We can know it's there, but we can't know it completely. It's infinite, and we're finite. We could know it that much as possible. We could know it's there, but we can't actually know its completeness. No, we would. It's unfathomable. So that's how you go into that state of consciousness, to experience what's already here, there, and everywhere, right here, right now. Like I said, this has already been 6 minutes. Here, there, and everywhere. So what had to change was the sensory apparatus ourselves. We have to sync with Om. We have to bring ourselves into sync with Om, and that's how it's done. Now, how do you see Christ? That's how you actually know Christ was, well, they say the Son of God, or he was an Om being. He said, a conversation with Peter, he said, who do you say that I am? He said, thou art Christ, the Son of the living God. And Christ celebrated, one, that he said living, and two, that he said you're the Son of God, or you're an Om being. You came out of the formless. Okay, that was the whole point that Christ celebrated. The only way to know that is for you to go into that formless state of consciousness. It's not just a sentence in the Holy Bible. It's an actual reality, and that's what Christ showed him. So Peter reached the highest state of consciousness, Om, Yahweh, or the Tao, because if you say it, it's not it. That's only a babbling sound from your mouth. But at any rate, that's why Christ celebrated, because in 3 years, he showed Peter Om. That's why he's called one of the sons of thunder, Peter, James, and John, the 3 highest disciples, because the rumbling, thundering Om. That didn't make any sense to me, not until I experienced Om, my crown chakra opening up during a routine practice session, and then I realized, that's why they're called the Sons of Thunder, and that's how you know Christ came out of there, because he's there right now, the second, as a disembodied spirit. I have no shape or form. I am dead, and yet I'm born. So, in other words, the soul awakens. It's dormant right here, and it awakens, and that's the only way to really know that Christ was the Son of God, or an Om being. In yoga philosophy, they say there were 8 Om beings in the history of mankind. So I'm more of their school of thought. I have a full understanding of all these things and can explain them. And the Greco-Roman version, it just has to be acknowledged that Christ was in India. He was a yogi, and he was a Zen Buddhist meditator. Without that, you will never reach the understanding that Christ intended for you. But I mean, I'm not saying you're not blessed by belief, but knowing is a lot more, is a lot higher level than belief. We're supposed to believe, and that's for kids. You're supposed to cross that bridge of belief into knowing, a living awareness that via your living soul, that your living soul, and that's how you experience the living God. So the living God becomes a living awareness inside of you, not believing, knowing. At any rate, that's enough for today. I just thought I'd do a video before I go exercise it. And like I always say, introduction was Om, body was Om, and the conclusion is Om. And that's really our human experience. The Zen circle. Where it began, where it ends. The beginning is the end. The Alpha, Omega. It's the same. It's one source. It's one. Non-duality. And the duality is when it manifested, the will of God manifested into creation. But, that's why I had to abandon my search for intelligent life on planet Earth. I did it officially on Chinese New Year 2022, 2222, February 2nd, 22. I officially abandoned my search for intelligent life on planet Earth because I had to categorize the human species as in the animal kingdom. I had to place them in the animal kingdom because the only thing that separates us from the animal kingdom is that we are directly connected as creatures. We're directly connected to the Creator. That's how we're formed. But the animals are not. But instead of becoming directly in contact with the Creator, connected with the Creator, we've entered the animal kingdom. We've evolved into the animal kingdom, being creatures that are connected to Creator, and yet we live as just the animal side, the creatures. So that's why I had to abandon my search for intelligent life on planet Earth, with few exceptions. But I know this is out there, but it should help a few future generations. I think the yogis, you should take this teaching. Guys like Sadhguru, the yogis out in India, and the Zen monks, or the Buddhist monks throughout the world. You have to return to the king, the yoga, the headstand, the king. This is the king, greater than any king there is. It's a teaching, it's not a person. But this is the king that will show you God, Om. It will take you to that state of super consciousness. They call it lifting the spirit, lifting the serpent. Christ said as Moses lifted the spirit. The Ankh, the old headstand prop, the cross, the headstand prop. Mine, I showed you the cloth hanging down, that's mine. The aerial yoga cloth. And then when he's speaking of raising a serpent, he's speaking of our celestial body and its physiology, metaphysiology, how it's designed. And you see the American Medical Association with the serpent going up the side of that pole, which symbolizes the spine. This is Shuma, they call that in yoga, the center of the spine, and then the Pingala and Ingala symbolize the two serpents. And then up at the top of the Medical Association, AMA symbol, you see the wings that symbolizes Om, for the formlessness, state of consciousness. It could be called flying with the Buddha's eagle, I call it personally, if you're entering into that state of consciousness. So I know how to do it, but I've been sidetracked like everybody else, and it's Society is designed so you do not learn that. Those people, I showed you the Catholics, the pineal gland, how they know it's supposed to be 5 times bigger than the raisin size of an ordinary person. That's just a side effect. It's almost actually experiencing a crown chakra. That's a side effect of this. And being immunized from a heart attack is another side effect benefit. And it increases the amount of blood in your body. I know that too. And so it's like taking the best exercise for a human being, maxing it out, redlining it, and then you realize that this exercise, the yoga exercises, deal with your celestial bodies as well as your physical body. But this particular yoga exercise deals actually with the formless state of consciousness, the formless soul. So yoga, this is the specific yoga exercise that deals with the soul. And of course meditation that's another way of going into Om, but that's for angels, because the angels can see how their mind energy is moving them, moves their whole body, and then by meditating, then you learn that the non-local mind energy of the divine white living light, the spirit of God, then moves you, and then still in meditation. I showed you what sits on your head in the stillness of angelic meditation, and then the last point of stillness, past that, you could call it Soto Zen meditation and formlessness. That's going into Om meditation, and Om, that could be called the soul merging with Om yoga, means union with God, same thing. So when Jesus said, "You've seen me, you've seen the Father," or he who has seen me has seen the Father, me and the Father are one. He says, it's just like saying I am a yogi in the real definition of world. Union with God. I am one with God. But, I mean, we can attain that to a degree, but Christ was actually in that state before he came out, before he came into human form. So we go there as humans, where Christ was actually already there before he was born. So that's why he was able to leave an incredible gift of power, the horn of salvation, the unicorn's horn. And yet, I've been over this before, the kingdom of Buddha is the next higher level than the kingdom of Christ. Although Christ taught spiritual perfection, mankind has reduced it to an astral world phenomenon. It's really getting trashy. It's how they say, you shall not tempt the Lord thy God. It's there. It's when you see the stuff that's happening to these kids nowadays, it's just I don't know how that'll come out, but I passed through there, but I'm from the ethereal, the top of the ethereal realm. The next stage of stillness, I will go into Om. I'll go into formlessness. So I guess I don't know what. That's just a vow that we take. At any rate, to live for the hell of it. But at any rate, I sit in the middle of form and worlds of form. Go either way. Some Buddhist monks go straight into moksha, they call it. They go straight into formlessness after they die. I just stay right in the middle, and I say it was also the will of God to manifest in form. But the original primordial state is in formlessness. Awareness, but formlessness. Not awareness, not restricted by the 5, 6 senses. That's what Solomon said, vanity of vanity, all is vanity and vexation of spirit, minus Om. That's where our spirit is not in a state of vexation, or our mind. And at any rate, Om, intro, Om, variations of Om body, Om conclusion. Om had one word to say, that word, the eternal Om. Primordial word. It's not even a word, it's a rumbling, thundering. Call it a word. Call it just a rumbling, steady rumbling, thundering, formless reality. The macro reality behind all of the micro realities, that is physical body worlds, celestial body worlds, and the different levels. That is the macro reality and formlessness behind all the very different worlds of form, bodies of form. So at any rate, I feel like touching upon this right now before I go. It's a physical body, therefore it's a physical world. See, the people think they're a physical body, and there's a physical world out there that they're in. No, which is not at all the case. It's a physical body, therefore it's a physical world. In other words, reality is a variable, not a constant. Physics treats it as a constant, and it's relevant only within the physical body world. For future generations, it's there. But for us personally, it's temporary and transitory, because our physical bodies will die, and we will go into a body of light. And then you realize that the same solid brick wall that we experience in our physical body, now experienced in our body of light, that hard solid brick wall becomes light. And the whole earth is a sphere of light. You could call it planet Earth, you could call it molecule Earth, depending on your perspective. But from the perspective of Om, this is molecule Earth, not planet Earth. Okay? And so like I say, that is the way out of your rubber room. There's higher levels, ethereal, and then in the same wall, as experienced via Om, the wall isn't there. The wall, everything is rumbling, steady rumbling, thundering. The earth still exists in its primordial state, formless and void. Om, rumbling, thundering, Om. So we're led to believe that we're physical bodies and there's an outside physical world out there. But no, it's a physical body, therefore it's a physical world. Sadly, modern man doesn't know who they are, doesn't really even know who they are. They think they're this physical body in a physical world because they have a condition. I've told you that before. You have a condition, and that's the conditioning process of our education system, which takes great teachings like this and sidelines them, and 90% of this book knowledge and words we learn is gone. It's all language. It's all built on now I know my ABCs. Won't you sing along with me? Then you got to learn the language of engineering, the language of science, the language of this, the language of that. It's all built on the now I know my ABCs type of education system, and it in no way should take priority over a teaching like this or other spiritual teachings. And in the end, it's left me overwhelmed with great astonishment. You have a condition, and I'm overwhelmed with great astonishment. So there is a way out of the rubber room. The self-reflecting bubble of perception, and the straitjacket, your 5 or 6 senses, and that would be following the authentic teachings of Christ, which is pick up your cross daily and follow me, or one who practices the headstand 3 hours a day will surely attain enlightenment. So as I said, have a great eternity. Intro Om, body variations of Om, conclusion Om, and like I said, I've been left overwhelmed with great astonishment at the human condition. We were immortal souls, immortal living souls, formless, boundless, living awareness, but we've been reduced to this degraded, childish, silly mentality. And it's by design. There's some people that have this teaching, I'm sure. They keep it to themselves. They keep it secret. Enemies, contentions. It's just, this has to be taught widespread. It could start in the yoga community or the Buddhist community and become more widespread. But like I said, I'm overwhelmed with great astonishment at the human condition. At any rate, have a great eternity, and I'll talk to you all another time.